It might feel like we're stuck waiting forever for all these Marvel television shows to hit Disney+. But with so many filming at once, at least we've gotten our fair share of leaked photos. The latest comes from Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and it features an epic villain. But it's not just a Marvel villain, it's an X-Men villain. His name is Omega Red, and he's just one piece of evidence that proves the MCU will be incorporating X-Men characters and locations into its Phase 4. So buckle up, because it looks like the mutants are about to make their major MCU debut.
How does it feel? Like it's someone else's.
Yeah, we're all going a little crazy about these new Marvel shows that are going to be released on Disney+. We've got titles, teasers, and casts. And now, we're starting to finally get some juicy plot details. The first Marvel television series set to be released is Falcon and the Winter Soldier in fall 2020. It'll bring back MCU stars Anthony Mackie and Sam Wilson, and Sebastian Stan as Bucky Barnes. And while we're hyped to see this pair on screen again, we're even more hyped that some on-set photos from the show have hinted at the X-Men finally making their MCU debut. A screenshot of mutant villain Omega Red has been floating around online. He's dressed in a comic-accurate Omega Red fashion, and he's rocking some pretty cool prosthetics. The little sneak peek might be more of a character mock-up than an official photo, but we have our reasons to believe it's a pretty accurate portrayal of what we're going to see in Falcon and the Winter Soldier. So, let's discuss. In the comics, Omega Red's real name is Arkady Rosovic, and he first appeared in X-Men number 4 back in 1992. Rosovic was a pretty notorious criminal who was captured by Interpol agent Sean Cassidy, also known as Banshee, and yes, that is the same Banshee that appeared in X-Men First Class. Now, Rosovic was already a mutant and a complete maniac before he got captured, but once Banshee handed him over to the KGB, things got a lot better for him, and a lot worse for everyone else. He was part of the USSR's Super Soldier program, which transformed him into the ferocious villain Omega Red, or the not-so-nice Russian version of Captain America. The experiment gave him retractable tentacles in each of his arms, and his armor is made up of super strong material. These cybernetic enhancements allow him to drain people's life force, but they also have a huge downside. The carbonadium in the armor and the arms slowly poisons him. It makes him weak and forces him to keep draining life force to stay alive, so it's a pretty terrible cycle. To stall this process, he needs carbonadium synthesizers, which were stolen by Wolverine. This is one of the biggest reasons Omega Red hates Wolverine, which has led to some pretty awesome fights between the two in the comics. There's actually another version of how things went down with Omega Red. Another origin story describes how his crimes were found out by his own group of soldiers, and they were forced to eliminate him. Except he survived their attempts, and that's when he was handpicked for the Super Soldier program. But regardless of which story Falcon and the Winter Soldier decide to go with, Omega Red comes out of the experiments with epic super soldier powers and a very bad attitude. So while Omega Red would rather not be continuously poisoned, he doesn't really mind the extra lives lost. In addition to draining life force, he's super strong, super fast, super durable, and he releases these dangerous spores that can either weaken or completely destroy people. Just being around the guy when he starts releasing these weird pheromones can be fatal. And he doesn't really offer his victims a lot of warning. It's no wonder that in the comics, Omega has defeated heavyweights like Cable, Wolverine, and even Iron Man. All in all, he's got the makings for a great MCU villain. He also has the potential to be some great comic relief if the characters have a lot in common with the version of him that appears in the X-Men animated series. In that show, this Russian super soldier's biggest weakness is the cold. Go figure. Omega Red has also been known to appear in other universes. For example, in Ultimate Universe Earth 1610, he was a Spider-Man villain. He worked as a hitman whose reputation was ruined by Peter Parker. He eventually gets captured by S.H.I.E.L.D. and ends up escaping with a Green Goblin. So is a Spider-Man crossover in the cards? We wouldn't count it out just yet. Another crossover happens in Age of Apocalypse, Earth 295, where the character ends up getting defeated by Domino, who we last saw in Deadpool 2. Omega Red was originally supposed to be in Deadpool 2, alongside characters like Domino and Colossus. You can see him in this behind-the-scenes video where he's played by NFL player Dakota Shepley, who describes the character as the Russian Wolverine. It was rumored that Omega Red would be a major villain in the R-rated film before he was replaced by the heavyweight Juggernaut. But other than appearing in the background and spending a lot of time playing chess on set, the Super Soldier never made the film's final cut. If you would have liked to see Omega Red in Deadpool, let us know in the comments. Fans of Omega Red will be happy to know that his appearance in the MCU seems much more likely to happen with Falcon and the Winter Soldier. That's because a picture of the character isn't the only major leak from the set. An anonymous user on 4chan has claimed to know the plot for at least one episode of the television show that features the mutant, and we gotta say, it actually makes a lot of sense. The user claims that the US government won't allow Sam Wilson to be the new Captain America. Instead, they appoint a government-approved US agent, who's played by actor Wyatt Russell. Sam's apparently okay with the change because he trusts the US agent. Then, Sam and Bucky's attention moves elsewhere when they have to team up with Baron Zemo to track down a crime syndicate known as the Alchemists. They all take a trip to the fictional island of Madripoor, and it's there that they meet Batroc the Leper and Omega Red. There are a few reasons, other than the appearance of Omega Red, to believe that this description is true. First, there's what we know about Sam Wilson from Avengers Endgame. He was thankful that Steve Rogers gave him the shield, but he was also pretty hesitant to take on such a gigantic responsibility. It definitely wouldn't be out of character for the Falcon to think that someone else could do the job better than him. Plus, due to the Sokovia Accords and siding with Captain America in Captain America Civil War, the government probably wouldn't allow him to represent them as Captain America. It's the perfect opportunity for their government to stick their hands in the whole Avengers initiative and try to insert their influence. Second, there are already leaked photos of a US agent on set wearing the Captain America uniform. Wyatt Russell will be taking on the role of John Walker, who has taken on other identities in the comics like Super Patriot. He's had some run-ins with Steve Rogers about taking the Captain America image and discrediting Steve's position. In Falcon and the Winter Soldier, it really does look like the government is giving him free reign as their new captain. But we have to know, did the government somehow make a copy of the Captain America shield, or did Sam hand it over willingly? You can drop your thoughts in the comments below. The third piece of evidence comes in the form of a set picture that leaked back in December. There are no characters in the photo, but there is a flag on a wall that looks exactly like the Madripoor flag. It's red and features a crescent moon, star, and lion head. There's really no mistaking the piece of decor as anything else. Madripoor is not associated with the Avengers, but it's definitely associated with X-Men. The city first appeared on the pages of New Mutants in 1985. It's a fictional island state just south of Singapore that used to be a haven for pirates. Society there is divided into rich and poor, with generally only the very rich or the very poor finding themselves settled there. The island already has a comic book connection with Captain America. It was actually the place where Wolverine and Captain America first met during World War II. So it seems like a fitting fictional setting for a story involving both Captain America and an X-Men crossover. In the comics, Madripoor is the operating grounds for some of the biggest evil organizations that X-Men have gone up against. This is because the island doesn't allow extradition of its inhabitants for any crime, so a lot of criminals turn to it for shelter when the going gets tough. That makes Madripoor the perfect choice for some conflict for Sam and Bucky. We're not really sure who the Alchemists are yet, but since Madripoor is known for being a place of extremes, it's likely that the crime group will be giving the Falcon and the Winter Soldier a lot of trouble throughout the course of the show. Since X-Men appearing in the MCU has been rumored for a while, it seems like a Marvel television show would be the perfect place to test the waters. Marvel boss Kevin Feige has confirmed that the things that happen in the television show will either cross over or have a major impact on the MCU movies. They definitely won't be isolated events, so if all goes well, we might see Omega Red in a Marvel film. Or if Omega Red gets eliminated, we're sure to see some other mutant characters make their Marvel debut and give us our X-Men fix. There are a few other interesting details that came from that anonymous 4chan user, but be warned that there are a few major spoilers here for Falcon and the Winter Soldier, if they turn out to be true. For one, William Hurt's Thaddeus Ross will be in the show. He's supposed to appear in the next Black Widow movie. The Leper is also mentioned, which gives us hope that he'll get a proper arc after his less than satisfying appearance in Captain America: Winter Soldier. Plus, the potential leak confirms the appearance of Baron Zemo, who first appeared as the calculating villain in Captain America Civil War. The show's teaser trailer revealed that Disney Plus's version of the character will look more comic book accurate, and since the user details that Zemo escapes from the island in a speedboat, we'll probably see him in more than one episode. He also says that Sam Wilson gets shot by the end of the episode, which is pretty worrying, but he also said that Sam gets to flirt with Sharon Carter, and will make some jokes about her relationship with Steve Rogers, so at least not everything about Falcon and the Winter Soldier will be super serious. It'll still be a few more months before we know how true this episode description is. It looks like it could be the pilot episode, and it would definitely start the series off on an epic note, but even if the episode description is off, the leaked photos confirmed that there will at least be some X-Men involvement with the show, and if all goes well, the MCU is about to be crawling with mutants. So are you excited for some X-Men characters to appear in the MCU? What other mutants are you hoping to see cross over? Let us know in the comments. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to ScreenRant if you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.